Howdy, everybody. I know I'm going to have a couple people pop here in a couple of minutes. The side of my head, just really fuzzy edges. Doesn't want to listen. See, two people popped in. I see two people popped in. I don't see who they are yet. Hey, thanks for coming to the live stream. I'm going to make it somewhat short. Hey, Ava. I suspected one of the two people that popped in was you. The only reason why I make this a short stream, Diana Phoenix. Hey, is because I got my nephew. He's older than his siblings, but he's still not old enough to be by himself. So while I have the door open so I can keep an ear out for him, and he's eating lunch, um, and watching TV. So um, I might give it a couple more minutes and just chat with you guys. Oh, thank you for sharing me out on Discord, Diana Phoenix. Diane Phoenix. I think I wrote like two more pages on the story I had been reading on my live streams. We left off with the little girl, and who's the main character in my story, and the story's called Daylight Allergy. Not sun allergy, because sun allergy is actual medical problem. Daylight allergy because it's kind of balanced with some facts and some fictional stuff that has something that has to do with like other genetic reasons. And the last thing that happened, I'll read that paragraph. Well, maybe I should read a little bit higher. Okay. So that was my brief encounter with another near my age. Boy, was she clumsy. She was like watching a cat and a dog compared to the movements. Afterwards, Mom took me aside and told me again not to lick sores or wounds because there could be an infection. Hey, RBDJ Sonia showed up. She she added especially not other people's blood because there's harmful germs that each person can carry, different from each other. She had me play quietly while she went to talk to the other mama. While I sat with the dolls, I had time to think about what just happened and about what didn't happen. I'm just going over the last thing that happened in the story I was reading before I start the part that I actually wrote to add to the story. And then after I finish reading the added on part, I'll just talk with you guys for a little bit, and that way I can kind of slowly fade out the live stream. My plan is to get 30 minutes in, so about 3 o'clock, but I might go a little bit over it. Normally, I manage to make it just under an hour so that people can replay my live stream and listen to the story. Okay. Let's see. I did not burn. I thought about the time Mama said she tested to see if I would react to the sun In only seconds, my foot went red. Why did anything happen this time? I wandered over to the shaft of light coming in as the sun was going and placed my hand, then my arm, in the light a little at a time. Nothing happened, and I could only stare. My thought my thoughts were running fast in a jumble, with one large question. Why? That's what happened. That was the end of the last part that I read in the other live stream. So I'm starting on my next part, which actually I've written 17 pages of this story. And I'm learning that when you sit down to actually write a story and you try to remember to like put the background and describe where they are and describe the character, and I forget to describe what the character's wearing, or like refer back to the secondary character so you at least don't forget what the name of that character is. It takes a lot of writing. And it's not easy when you have trouble with your arms because you got a nerve condition. Later, I've decided I will try to get my computer up and running, and that way I could type it out and eventually get a copier and um, copy out the pages. So that way I don't have to worry about writing till my hand gets sore because it only takes me 10 minutes and then my nerves aren't working. My hand won't hold the pencil. And then I'm in pain like I just got through doing like wrist crunches or something. So I'll continue with this other part of the story, and it's only 3 pages long. Might be done and over with in 10 minutes, and then just chat with everybody. I really appreciate you guys came in. June thought to herself, what was the difference? Why did her skin seem to remain normal? Not only had it not reacted during her daring dash into the sun to help the little girl, but now as she held her entire arm in the sunbeam with nothing happening, she didn't even feel a crawl, a itch, or sting. June only felt the most wonderful warmth, like being in a warm blanket set on low. It felt like half an hour must have passed while she had been mesmerized, holding her arm out, and finally stepped into the sunlight completely bathed in the light she had feared since she had begun to wonder about as a baby, the sun which her mamma had warned her about since she could understand the word ouchie. Now she had came back to herself with a surge of excitement. Her first idea was, tell Mama. This would change so much. As her mama came back into the house and into the living room, June saw her face. She had just about reached the center of the living room, which shared the kitchen, and stopped. Just after she had decided to tell Mama, she had heard the front door opposite the bedroom side of the small apartment. In her desire to tell her Mama, she had planned to meet her in the living room, but that face made the excitement seep out of her. June slowly begins to speak, not sure if she should be cautious or direct, but she will ask first to test the mood. What happened? And is there something really bad? June asked, with a worried, soaked voice. She watched her mamma bring a hand to the side of her face and rub slowly behind the right eye, slightly over where the ear met the side of her face. It was something she noticed her mamma do dealing with people, not necessarily June herself. June relaxed a bit, let a bit of her breath out that she hadn't known she'd been holding. She had been breathing slowly and shallowly until she knew what was really associated with something she had done. Mama was not angry, and most importantly, not angry with her. Mama was very worried about something else, but what and why? So I remembered to write the mom's name here because I'm not talking directly from the point of view of the mother, but I'm talking from like third person point of view. Sasaki hated dealing with people, especially when it referred to something important to them. In this case, someone's precious. Apparently, the little girl had not told her mom her intended destination. So find her little girl had gone off and gotten hurt. No matter how minor, pushed the mother into near hysterics. She hadn't known where the little girl was for the near hour she had been gone. Now, too, the mother would be checking at her house to see if she was playing with June when she wandered off. It seemed a commonplace happening with the child just as much as her getting scrapes and bruises. And the moment she had gone through this processing of thought, she had only vaguely heard June's question. She realized she was unnecessarily worrying her daughter. She reached out to June as she began to answer her cautiously worried tone. June, baby girl, it's not because of anything to do with the little girl getting hurt. Not really. The girl's mother had known she was where she was, and going home hurt didn't help the mother's state of mind. Now, however, when she goes missing, you can be sure she will be checking here first from now on. This was all June needed to hear, to know what this meant for her. Their quiet, self-contained place in the world that had been mostly just her and her mama. June thought to herself, we have only just come to be here less than half a year. Now this would make things harder on both her mama and herself. Mama would have to stress and would have to be even more careful. It was hard enough having to stay so much and having to stay in so much and keep from the sun over curious people. Now, for sure, they had to work hard to make the move she could already tell would come, but much sooner minor, a minor cha- mi- under the slightest yet major change in her life. The girl would no doubt come over as often as she could manage to sneak away from her mother, fretful's personality. She just sat, hugging her mom. June thought to herself, what was the difference? Oh, oh wait, that's the end of the story. Okay, well, I planned to end that point where June was thinking to herself and hugging her mom that now they were going to have to move. They've probably been there maybe 6 months. I meant to put that in the story, and it looks like I was in the middle of writing when I got interrupted because I've been hanging out this month with my sister and her little ones. And so my writing's kind of been put off a little bit. Like I wrote a little bit and then I'd have to stop. And um, so I didn't get as far as I wanted to get on my story writing to add to that story. But she was sitting with her mom thinking that now they're going to have people coming over regularly, or at least, the mother and the little girl, so regularly that they won't be able to just do what they normally do, and they have to be more cautious. Um, let me let's see. Let me see about because I hear my nephew blasting the TV, which he knows better. Okay, he's blasting the TV to like 40. I mean, brand Oh, I had myself muted. I thought I took myself off mute. He's blasting the TV, which I'm not sure why, such young people feel like they need to blast the TV when they have brand new years. Um, so now you guys can hear me without outside noise, and hopefully it doesn't affect my video. Um, so the little girl now knows that they're going to be moving. At the same time, the next part of the story I'm writing, she doesn't mind moving from the area, but she was just getting to the point where she could enjoy the company of a little girl. Unfortunately, like some little girls, when they live close by other people, they just wander to the next house. And in this part of the story, that's not necessarily a good thing um, for June because she can't be out at all times of the day normally. This time she doesn't know why her skin didn't react to the sun, but normally she has to stay in during the hotter part of the day, the part of the day that the sun is at its peak. And now she's got a little girl that's going to come over, especially on the weekends and random times of the day. And I experience that sometimes around here when my nephew's friends want to come over, they just pop over at morning, noon, evening. And for June and her mom, it's not good because she has a medical condition. It's strange and it's kind of hard for June because she's so young. But it's also stressful for her mom because she's trying to put her in a position where she can still protect her and slowly get her more adjusted to being around other people. It's not something that's very well known. Sun allergies, while she doesn't necessarily, we know because I can tell you from our point of view, she doesn't necessarily have a sun allergy. Um, other than that, that's the story I'm going to get a little bit more time next month to write on and pick up from that point, which I might start writing after I finish the live stream because I just pretty much left it at she's hugging her mom and realizing they're going to have to move. She didn't even really get to ask the question, so I'm going to have to add that in there that she actually asked the question before her mom answered it because I didn't notice that in my writing. That's the other thing with writing a story and reading it as you're editing your story and making it into a actual full book, or a short story. I'm not sure what the book and short story is what it's gonna end up as when I get to the point where I want to be. Before I try to see about typing it out and find out a way to make it into a book. I don't know if it's gonna be a short story or a mini novel, but I plan on writing it out to where she's at least old enough to be on her own before I end the story with the part that I'm reading online, and then move to a different story that I'm writing that's about a little girl with extraordinary experiences. And I have a third story I'm writing. I won't be putting it online anytime soon because that one's going to be completely adult and it's going to be kind of like sci-fi, um, somewhere between sci-fi horror, but more sci-fi. The other one that's about little girl is going to be more like a childhood fantasy. I'm going to write it where things are more from a childlike point of view and not as not from like a child that's been with mama so long that she kind of like sounds a little bit more adult for her age than she should because she's only 7, but because it's only her and her mom, she sounds more adult. Um, my plans in the next month are I'm getting a little bit more of the equipment that I need for live streaming, and hopefully taking a random trip out of Arkansas because I've been kind of stuck here during COVID and during the winter. And with the vehicles needing fixing right now, we're missing some meetups. I only got to go to the Slow Momentum meetup last year in, I believe it was April. And I got a little bit of footage, but not as much because I think my phone charger wasn't doing well at the time. I got a newer phone and I got newer. I'm not sure if I used the newer phone or if I was using the phone that I had before, the one I'm using now. But I got a newer charger, and I'll be getting a newer battery so that when I do go to the meetups, I can hang out with everybody and film what I'm actually doing and what's going on and stuff like that. Give you guys a little bit more of something to look at. Um, it was a very short meetup film that I did at Slow Momentum. I forgot to edit in the part where I was actually making a trip where like, but it's a bunch of trees in that area, just trees, like a lot of pine trees. There wasn't a lot to see. And then coming out of Little Rock was a lot of traffic, so I didn't really get to do like the scenic route type thing. We went as straight as we could to get there. The next time I go to a meetup, um, depending on well, the next time I go to Slow Momentum's meetup, it's going to be more of a scenic route. Hey, free Henley Maid. Um, I'm glad to see you. The next time I go to a meetup is gonna at least Slow Momentum's. I know it's gonna be more of a scenic route because we're planning for that time of year, and I'm hoping to go to the next M22 meetup. I don't know if I'm gonna camp at the campgrounds where everybody else is camping because my family's gonna come with me since I need help physically to get about and sometimes to open food and food packages. They're going to be with me, so we might pick some place to boondock or we might get a hotel. But we're going to have a newer vehicle to travel with, so we won't have to worry about as extra car issues. Um, the car problems we had now was just too many of them. Most of it had to do with the engine or transmission, and that's not really something you want to worry about when you're traveling. Otherwise, I'd be over there in Arizona or Quartzsite where Box Van D and everybody is meeting up at. So next winter, I guess I'll be meeting up with Box Van D. I don't know if it'll be during her meetup or if it's going to be at a time that I can go, which might be December, it might be January. I don't know, but one of those times next winter, I'm gonna go. And then the M22 meetup, I'm hoping to hit Michigan and possibly um, the other meetup. What's it called? Like part of it smeared in my mind. That's the other thing. I've been having a lot of trouble with memory. It's I want to call it. I know that's not the word. I want to say Mulberry meetup, but it's not the name. That's not the name. The one that everybody else goes to in October. I can't believe my brain is not letting me like remember what the first part of that. And Mayberry meetup, Mayberry meetup. That's what it is. I had to stop and think about the old story. Yeah, the old black and white story to remember what it was. Um, so I want to go there. That one I probably won't stay at the campgrounds, but I will visit with people. Probably stay at a hotel, visit with people a couple of days, and then head to meet up with somebody or say hello to somebody that lives in the area on the way back. The M22, I want to try to leave out and have time to get back, or I can meet a couple people on the way back because there's a bunch of people between me and Michigan that we know that most of us know on YouTube. So that's what I really want to do is to give myself some traveling time between those times, since it'll be a newer, the Andy Griffith show, which my brain's like, as much as I watched this show when I was little, I can't believe that it took me so much to try to remember that. Like, and it bothers me because I'm only in my 30s. Just 2 years ago, I started having really bad memory issues, and they started trying to figure out what's going on with me medically. We only managed to figure out that I have fibromyalgia, that I have polyneuropathy, where more than one limb is having issues with blood flow and feeling. It's hard for me to gauge temperature, so I have to be careful not to burn myself. And we found out this year, the end of December. Thanks for listening, Tracy Oceanfire. And the end of December, beginning of January, I found out I had spinal degeneration, and it's most prominent in the back part of my neck and the fourth and fifth vertebrae, and has gone to the third, fourth, fifth vertebrae. I can actually feel it on my other side of my neck. That's kind of like really hard spurs. Um, but it keeps me a constant pain in my neck, and goes down into this shoulder, so I can't lift this shoulder, and I don't move it as much because of that, and it also makes it where I drop stuff a lot. The lower part of my spine was injured when I was much younger, um, but we don't know if that's suffering the same thing because they've been focusing on the neck because there's so much you can lose from the neck down. So far, it hasn't gotten to the point where it seems like it's going to get to the point where, even though I have some reduced usage of my limbs, I haven't lost the ability to use my limbs. It's just there's certain positions I can't use my limbs. Like if I grab something and I try to come up from the waist, I'm likely to drop it. If I try to come, if I try to go above my head and I have to lift my arms completely, then I will drop whatever I'm holding, and it also causes me pain. So anything between the waist and my chin, I can have free access to. I was having trouble. I still have trouble lifting certain weights, but I can lift. I've gotten back to the point of being able to lift something like a milk jug, which is very light. And for somebody that used to lift 75 pounds with one arm, it's kind of a weird situation to be in where you're trying to pour yourself something and you're having trouble lifting it, and you have to use two hands because the one arm starts hurting. It feels like you're straining your muscles. Muscles really aren't doing all that much. Um, so with that, my mom is trying to get into a position to help me be able to get about and come with me on some of the trips because she likes to travel. She's at that time of her life where she's ready to retire. If she can get a job that's just like second nature to her, then she won't have to focus as much on her job, and she can focus more on enjoying life. So we're hoping to see if we can't get her in position to be my home health person. And I've just recently started applying for home health so that I can get help with everyday life, at least between those times that I'm traveling. And the good thing is, there's definitely something my mom's gonna be able to get a newer vehicle, so travel is definite. I've got a few places I want to pick out, but I haven't put them in order, like where I want to visit first. The place that stands out most is Branson because I've been there once, and I want my mom to come visit the Silver Dollar City there in Branson, and to get to enjoy the hotel, like the resort hotels up there. I took my mom on her first vacation when I was 33, I believe, 2013. Or it's 2014. 2013, I'm pretty sure. And we went to Universal Studios in Florida. We traveled from Arizona over to the Florida one because the Florida one was rumored to have the actual train that they used in Harry Potter, the actual movie that they kind of like can mechanically fig, fidget with some of the ways that work and made it into a ride that goes from one part of Universal Studio to the other. I've only been in Silver Dollar City and Branson one time. It should have been one of my best experiences, but I was with the first husband that I had married, and he was mostly focused on his experience, and I didn't get to do anything but one thing that I wanted to do there. And I pretty much had to throw a fit for him to buy me one souvenir. So I want to go back there and have a more positive experience with um, either my mom or more people that I know I'm going to enjoy having that experience with. Like, if I can get some more friends in on it and we could all go hang out there. That would be cool. If it's just ends up being just me and my mom, or my mom and some of my siblings and my niece and nephew, that's fine too, because you're hanging out with little kids, you're gonna see their excitement. You can't help but enjoy yourself. And I plan on saving money for the old fashioned candy store there because there's candy there that we don't get to see. Thanks, Diana Phoenix, for coming and hanging out with me. We have to run. And champion, the champion is home. Is home. So thanks for coming. Let's see. I'm at 30 minutes, so I'm glad you stayed the whole 30 minutes, and I'll be wrapping it up soon. For my first plan, I want to go to Branson, and then I have to figure out where I want to go from there because Arizona's been pulling on me really hard since I left there. I would stay there 7 years, and I was in Mesa and Phoenix and then Glendale, and we visited Havasu Lake, and we were really close to Quartzsite. I didn't know about Quartzsite at the time, but I went to visit my dad there in Yuma. He happened to move out there a little bit after I moved out there, and he has a separate family with two of my sisters, different mom, and I only got to see them since they moved from since they came to the United States because they're one's Ethiopian mix and the other one's Arabic mix. Thanks, Ava, for hanging out with me. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed a little bit of story. And so they have a little bit of foreign experience overseas as well as the American experience. And I like to listen to. She's younger than me. I'm the oldest of all the siblings, but she's the oldest of her family. I like to listen to her experience. She's getting ready to graduate college this coming year, I think. So I kind of want to be there, and I want to listen to. I get to listen a little bit to how things feel to her compared to where she was when she was younger and she was in the other country. And there's some questions that I didn't want to ask her when she was younger because I knew the move was it's a big move. She liked coming here, and she still is glad that she came here. She still has friends over there that she missed because she moved back over. She moved over here, was moved over here when she was 14. Um, so she was going through that stage of your life where you start having to decide what you're going to do, especially overseas. You have to decide what you're going to do with your adult life sooner than we do over here. So she got to relax and enjoy more the rest of her life as a teenager over here and more of a child point of view instead of having to be a young adult like they do over there. And I'm glad she got to be over here because they don't have a lot of freedom in the area that she lived in as female. And her mom, I got to meet her mom. Her mom was like really surprised that me and my siblings didn't have any, negative feelings toward her. I'm like, it takes two for something like that to happen. And my dad was already with somebody, so it's not like he had her originally had her as a housekeeper, and we know how that usually goes. So it doesn't really bother me because it's one of those things that with him being gone so much, you kind of know. Well, I kind of know. I kind of knew as being a with the level that I think even as a teenager I kind of knew. And when he was really young when with my mom when they had me, so he was still immature, and because of that, I didn't really get along with him at that time in my life. So it really didn't bother me that he was gone. My siblings just were like me; we were mom focused. As long as mom was being a mom, we were happy. So getting to meet their mom didn't bother us, and I was glad to know that they had a good mom that was, she really takes care of them, and she even sends us stuff every now and then. I'm glad they got to have a happier experience. So it's like what he experienced, he learned from his mistakes, and they got to have a better experience as children. So I'm actually happy about that. Um, I'm an adult, so it's my job to make sure that I keep my connection with them while they're growing up. So that's what I'm doing. Um, I like to have family around, and I kind of hate that I don't get to see my sisters as much as I want to. But I'm glad that we're us getting newer vehicles. Will be set aside a place to go and hang out. We want to go to the Grand Canyon or and drive through the Yellowstone National Park and hang out in that area with money for getting souvenirs and stuff. So that's where our plan is when I get to visit them next year. Um, I hated not getting to visit them this winter because it was something that we all had originally planned, but since the vehicles broke down and my sister became unexpectedly expecting. She's too close to her due date, so we're not going to be traveling. We want all of us, like me, my sister, my brother, to be able to go see our two sisters that's in Arizona. So we were gonna make it like one of those things where you got to see everybody in Arizona and say hi to Baxter and D and everybody else that's over there at Quartzsite. So this time I'm not gonna be able to do that, but the next year we'll probably do that because I think Box Fan D says she's gonna make it something that she does regularly. So I'm excited about that. And meanwhile, I'm planning on the equipment that I need. And the next thing I'm gonna get is the power pack, so that when we do go somewhere camping, I can have some power and have solar. I'm looking at I think it's called Paxis. I think that's what it's called. Solar with the solar station 500 watt with the solar panel. I think max 600 watt hours, and it has a solar panel that goes with it. It's only $520, and they give you a coupon that's 40% off. Not 40% off. Tip, wait, that takes $40 off of it. So then, if it takes 40 off of it, that's like leaves me with only having to pay $480. So I want to get that. Also because I want to try a brand outside of the popular brand. No one ever talks about them. Hey, hey, Daryl of Van City Adventure. So if I can get that 500 watt um power station, then I can start experimenting with how I handle being away from shore power, actual power that goes to the house, and working with the solar panel and start adjusting to getting used to that because I do want to do boondocking. Well, my physical condition is probably going to be a part-time thing, so I'll do it for short periods of time, and I'll use the solar panels so I can adjust to that. But I also, when I'm not out boondocking, I'll probably use the solar the solar power as continuing to practice when I'm at home or when I'm at a place, because I had the place that I'm staying at kind of set up like boondocking with the toilet, just like if I was in the van and the bed. I keep moving around and mess with it because it's not really to the desired level that I need it. I need to be a little bit more comfortable. I bought a sleeping bag and a air one of those self-inflating air mattresses is only 2 inches thick, so it's not thick enough for me to go with a board because I got pressure points. When the typical pressure points are pressed on my body, it doesn't just make it uncomfortable for me. It hurts so bad that I'll sometimes lose use of one leg, or it'll make it where it's kind of like it cramps up, but it pulls up and then it kind of gets stuck in a position that I can't use it. So if I lay on one side too long on that mat or with that very thin mattress and that board, then it makes it where I don't sleep very well. So I need to get a little bit more cushion. I'm gonna probably get a 4-inch hybrid memory foam cushion or a pillow top to add with that, and it should be just fine because I'll get a little bit better sleep than I did before I bought that mat, but I need just a little bit more cushion. The sleeping bag is not very thick because it's made for kind of like not really freezing degrees. It's made for more of a spring and autumn type temperature, so I can lay on it and put a cover over me when it's warmer. When I get in it, it doesn't have much thickness, and it doesn't quite work when you got a very thin mat. So I'm going to get a thicker mat. So the solar power with the power station, Paxis, I believe is what it's called. I'm gonna get that and a newer the power station and a newer um, foam hybrid mattress, memory foam hybrid mattress, so that I can sleep better and I can do better when I go out camping. And I will be using a vehicle, whatever my mom figures out that she wants, until I can possibly get something that's more long term for me that will allow me to be able to boondock like I'm in a house, which my plan is to eventually get a camper. I've looked at some and I will post a video probably next week, early next week, or mid next week, where I went to Hot Springs for just a road trip, just to get out and do some traveling because we weren't able to travel for so long. And I looked into one of the campers there. The other camper was very similar to it, so I'm gonna record one of them, and then I'll have some comments and some silly things that I did on the road trip that I'll post in that video. I think the video will be a little more than 10 minutes long. So I got to put it together now that I found all the parts of the video. But I'm getting ready to, done with lunch. I'm going to lay down. Have a good day. You have a good day too. I'm getting ready to wrap up anyways. I'm getting ready to wrap up my live stream. Thank you guys for coming. It was great to have, everybody there. I'm glad that most everybody was here for almost a full 30 minutes, and anybody else that came in, I appreciate. Uh, those are things to focus on. But the way I'm getting it, since I don't have income, is my mom and my brother kind of got together and decided how much they're going to put aside for me to be able to do what I need to do. And so we're going to get a little bit and wait for that money to build up. So I'm like saving up and then get the next thing. And those are the next two things of my items. And then I'll eventually get a synthesizer for my storytelling, and so that when I sing my songs, I can put music to my songs and special effects. So the synthesizer, I'm still researching on. I don't know which one I'm going to get, but that's my next. Those are the next three things I plan on getting this year, in the first half of this year, or at least by the time summer's end, I'll have those things. Thanks for being here. I'm closing my live stream. Thanks, Ava, Tracy, Daryl from Van City Adventure, Freehandly Made. Um, Sorry, I forgot your name. My memory doesn't let me remember things too long. It'll take me probably another month of coming to visit you before I can remember. I'm sorry. Diana Phoenix. I think I said Ava, Tracy, and there was one more, Diana Phoenix. I know she's already logged out, but thank you guys for coming to my live stream. It's definitely a pleasure. I get to have you guys here. Maybe next time I'll let you guys like come up with questions to ask me that you might want to know, because I don't mind questions, and it'll be a little bit longer live stream because it'll just be me. Maybe my mom might be around, but I won't have to run back to look after the little guy. Thanks for coming. I hope you guys have a happier new year. Bye.